Hey folks, this is Kelani. With all the dinosaurs out in the wilds of Zandalar, it only makes sense that we wrangle up a few for ourselves, right? There's got to be some new mounts floating around in every expansion for us to hunt down, capture, and pray to RNGesus for. Whether they come from dungeon drops, raids, achievements, or just outright buying them from a vendor, it's always awesome to see what new mounts are added in a new expansion. All of the mount collectors out there can rejoice. There's a wonderful selection of new beasties to ride around in battle for Azeroth, so let's have a look at some of the special ones, where they come from, and why some of them cost an arm and a leg. Remember, we're still in beta, so everything is subject to change and may not reflect the finished product. First up is one everybody is going crazy about. There were rumours and wild speculations being thrown around when it was first data mined, but we are in fact able to purchase a Brutosaur Mount for ourselves. That's right, we get a big grown-up version of Littlefoot to ride around on. There's actually some of these Brutosaur caravans in Zuldazar which you can hop on and just chill out on while they take you from place to place. So if you can't afford the real thing, at least you can pretend. Which might be most of us, because this Brutosaur Mount will set you back a whopping 5 million gold. You heard me right, 5 million gold. I'm pretty sure I've got the right amount of zeros there. It's not 500,000, it's 5 million gold. That shouldn't come as much of a surprise though, seeing as the Spider Mount in Legion was a crazy 2 million gold, but it looks like inflation is just getting worse and worse. I remember back in Wrath of the Lich King when the first vendor mount was introduced. If you were riding around on one of those bad boys, you were pretty well off, and that was only 16,000 gold. Mists of Pandaria upped the vendor mount game a little bit by introducing the Grand Expedition Yak, which costs 120,000 gold, but instead of just 2 vendors it now has a transmogrifier on board, so if you want to swap around your luck on the go you can do so, but this mount takes the cake. 5 million gold. That just sounds like an absurd amount of gold, though if you actively make gold, it's not actually unthinkable. I know I made several million gold the first few weeks of Legion just from herbing and alchemy. I ended up spending most of it, but that's not the point. If I had held on to my start of expansion earnings, I could buy this mount pretty easily. So if you haven't already got a plan for raking in the gold when BFA drops, maybe it's time to think about how you can gather up 5 million gold if this mount is on your bucket list. So you might be wondering, what could be so special about this mount to warrant such a price tag? Why would anyone want to buy this mount for 5 million gold? Well, it comes with 2 NPCs. The first is a typical merchant who will probably also be able to repair your gear, so the repair guys should be sticking around. Cool, same deal as the other mounts so far. The other NPC is an auctioneer. You probably had the same reaction I did. 5 million gold, what in the... Oh, an auctioneer. Maybe that's worthwhile after all. This is going to be an insane quality of life boost for anyone who spends any length of time playing around with their auctions in the auction house. And let's be honest, if anyone has 5 million gold to drop an amount, it's those guys. You can avoid Ogrimmar or Stormwind or even your garrison if you set that up way back when. You can sell your loot on the go, repost your auctions from anywhere in the world. I'm honestly kind of surprised they threw an auction house on a mount, but this is definitely a mount I'm going to pick up. Sadly, it doesn't seem like there's a mailbox included, which would have been just perfect. Imagine a little bird cage on the back, carrier pigeon style, just send off your mail with the bird and you're good to go. Though the poor thing would have to cart back heaps and heaps of gold, so maybe that's why we don't have a mailbox in our Brutosaur. If you're worried about the gold price, reputation reductions do work. This mount is available from Talatu in the Grand Bazaar in Zuldazar for the Horde, or from Tricky Nick in Borealis for the Alliance. Yes, the Alliance will have access to this crazy dino. I'm not sure who taught the Alliance to tame the creatures of Zuldazar, but whatever, they can have a pass on this little transgression. Those vendors are tied to the Zandalari Empire and the Proudmoor Admiralty reps, so if you get up to Exalted before buying the mount, it will knock off a whole million gold, bringing the price down to 4 million. If you're a goblin, you can probably just skip that part though. Farming reputation with those factions might be the first thing a lot of players want to do, especially the gold goblins out there. 1 million gold might be chump change for some crazy players, but I would still want to save any gold I could when throwing down so much for a single mount. So that's the big one out of the way, but the vendors who sell the Brutosaur have a few other goodies too. There's a Palehide Direhorn mount which costs 500,000 gold and looks pretty cool. Kind of the same mounts that were available in Mists of Pandaria from the troll rares that popped up in every zone. Maybe not quite worth 500k to me, but if you love collecting dinosaurs, have at it. There's also a lost Platosaur companion pet which is super adorable. You can run around with Ducky by your side. She'll set you back 100,000 gold though, so it definitely seems like we're almost expected to be millionaires at this point. It seems like mounts will be coming from almost every form of content in Battle for Azeroth. The two new types of content, the Warfronts and the Island Expeditions, are having a few mounts tied to their rewards as well. This is kind of interesting because the same mount is available for both Horde and Alliance from the Warfronts, with a little twist. The Alliance get the Highland Mustang. Yes, it's another horse, but this is a horse that's flying the Alliance banner. That's new and exciting, right? Well, okay, how about a horse that's flying the Horde banner instead? The Horde will get the broken Highland Mustang. They might need a few more lessons when it comes to creating saddles for horses though. That doesn't look too safe. It's cool to see a horse being introduced for the Horde that isn't a skeleton, though more horse mounts in general probably aren't too exciting for the vast majority of players. The Island Expeditions have quite a variety of mounts available though. I guess these are supposed to relate somewhat to the islands we'll be exploring and plundering, but we have the Twilight Avenger, just in case you didn't have enough purplish dragons, another jellyfish mount called Surf Jelly, which is pretty cool. I'm glad they're expanding into more water mounts, though it makes me a little worried about what might lie beyond the horizon. We also have the Craghorn Chasm Leaper, an orange furred Yeti mount, which just reminds me of all the Gron mounts we had in Warlords of Draenor, but another Yeti to ride is pretty cool. There's also a new serpent mount called the Corrupted Jade Serpent. We haven't seen one of these in a little while. This one has some really cool armor and an awesome headpiece. The harness looks a little spooky too, so if you wanted another serpent and didn't want to have to go back to Pandaland, we've got you covered. The last new mount that comes from Island Expeditions that we've got to look at is Squawks, which, unsurprisingly, is a parrot. I think there are a few parrot mounts in Battle for Azeroth, but at least one of them comes from the Island Expeditions. We have such a crazy variety of mounts in the game these days. I can't believe we used to be limited to just what mounts our factions were using and a handful of dragons. Now we can fly parrots, or run around on a giant dinosaur. There's also some new mounts for some achievement milestones. If you don't remember the 350 mount collector mount for Legion, that was pretty cool too. Getting 350 mounts might seem a bit crazy, but with all of the new mounts we're getting in Battle for Azeroth, a lot of people might find themselves getting a lot closer than they realise, almost without trying. If you manage to get to 350, you get the Biting Frost Shard Core, which allows you to ride the Frost Shard Infernal, a frozen version of the Infernal mounts which mainly came from the Nighthold. This mount looks amazing. I think it might be my favourite Infernal mount, or just favourite larger mount in general. It's a shame it can't fly though. Can you imagine launching yourself through the air in the Infernal's ball form? That would be pretty cool. So with more mounts comes another Mount Collector's achievement. We're able to get all the way up to 400 and receive another new mount for our troubles. The 400 mount is the Tempestuous Sky Stallion, another horse for our horse collection. This one does look pretty cool though, so I'll forgive the fact that it's another horse. If we didn't already have the Hearthsteed or the other similar horses in the shop, I might be a bit more impressed. It kind of looks like the Hearthsteed mount except red with a little blue glow in there for good measure. I think a mount relating to Zandalar or Kulturas would have been way cooler, but maybe we'll get something better for 450 mounts when we finally get to that point. There's also a mount being awarded from the 100 Exalted Reputations achievement. I know, these achievements are crazy, but some people actually have that many reps up at Exalted. Farming reputations can be a lot of fun if you have the right mindset, but alas, the mount is the Reigns of the Spectral Phoenix. I think this makes the 4th Phoenix mount we have access to. I might be forgetting one, but it's really cool to see another one being added, and it's purple, so even better. Apparently the white parts aren't finished yet, and there's going to be a whole bunch of extra particles and spell effects, as well as a trail like the Ashes of Alar mount. This could end up looking pretty cool, but it's tied to the 100 Exalted Reputations, so if you want to get your hands on it anytime soon, you might want to have a look at which reps you can get done really easily. All in all, I'm really excited to get my hands on some of these mounts, and I kind of can't believe we've gotten to the point of forking over 5 million gold for a single mount. That's just still so crazy. I didn't think we'd ever get to this point. Things have gotten a little out of control, I guess. I wonder when it started. Was it during Warlords with the garrisons just printing money? I guess it didn't help that it continued into Legion with the order halls, and then the introduction of tokens allowed you to legally and easily buy gold from players. That was a bit of an evil genius move by Blizzard, and I honestly expected them to do it sooner. It makes so much sense, and it's probably making them a lot of money. If you're curious, by the way, the current price of WoW tokens on the US realms hovering around 200k gold, so you would have to buy 20 tokens to meet the 4 million gold requirement of the Brutosaur Mount, and that's with the Exalted Reputation for the best possible price. That would cost you $400 American if you want to just throw cold hard cash at your screen to get this mount. That's a lot of money for a mount in WoW, though if you compare it to some other games, it's actually kind of a drop in the bucket. People can get a little crazy when it comes to throwing throwing money at video games. But that's it for our little preview of the 5 million gold Brutosaur mount and some other cool mounts that are coming from a variety of other sources in Battle for Azeroth. Will you be picking up the Brutosaur mount, or is it a little out of reach for your gold pouch? Leave all your thoughts in the comments section below. A big thank you to all of our supporters over on Patreon. If you want to hop on that train, you can find a link in the description below. Remember to leave a like just below the video before you leave, and if you want to see more, make sure to subscribe. But apart from that, thanks for watching folks, good luck and have fun, and as always I will see you next time.